This is Creative to Creative. Together, we deep dive into the creative and production processes of leading creatives, finding out what makes them tick, how they do what they do, and the challenges along the way. This is Creative to Creative, powered by Motion by Design. This week, we're interviewing Sophie Pank. Sophie's built her marketing career inside some of the world's most recognised and respected brands, including Xero, the Commonwealth Bank of Australia, Deputy, American Express, and Morgan Stanley. She's recently set up her own marketing consultancy business, Front of Mind Marketing, to share her marketing experience and knowledge with early funded tech businesses looking to grow market share quickly. Where do you think the marketing and media industry sort of heading? Like, I'm certainly sort of seeing a big drop in digital spend and a lot of, I guess, trust being lost in digital media, whether it's Facebook, your Instagrams, that type of thing, both from a client side and a business side. Where do you think media and marketing is going? What do you think the next big thing is going to be?
Oh, gosh. That digital experience, it's so, if I put my consumer hat on at the moment, it's so overwhelming. Like, my Instagram and Facebook feeds have more ads in them than content from people that I've chosen to follow. And so I'm kind of exhausted as a consumer. Similarly with display, it's like, it was great. There was cut through at the beginning, but now it's a lot of noise and it is really hard to get that cut through. It depends. I'm not a B2C marketer anymore. But in the B2B world, I think, and again, depending on the industry that you're going with, I think in person needs to make a comeback.
Relationships.
And, yeah. And I think that's important because people are so burnt out from being so digital over the COVID period. And especially in B2B, where you're selling to people and you've got to influence them and the sales cycles are a lot longer. It's really important to be building a relationship, and that's going to be the way that you sell. And I think, networking is really important. The other thing that I'm following this trend at the moment around partnerships and just understanding what the role of partners, a partner strategy will be.
Yep.
And so I think that's going to be, in the tech space, it's had probably 5 or 6 years where it's done really well in the partnership space. But I think there's a lot further that we can go. And the cost of, marketing budgets are going down, headcount's going down in especially in the tech industry. And so I think we've got to be really clever in the way that we're getting in front of people and building the brand and the network. And I think partnerships is a really interesting way to do that.
I think bringing it back to the creative industry in that sort of world, I've noticed years ago, like in America in particular, you've got agencies working more regularly with other agencies, and it's an open relationship where the client knows they're dealing with, 3 agencies to produce the best work. And I think Australia are probably a little bit behind in that, where they still do a lot of white label, or they don't tell the client they're outsourcing, or, maybe they've tried to do it internally or something like that. But I think Australia is probably catching up in that space a little bit. But I think the partnerships thing is interesting, like, finding other businesses that you align with and doing some, I guess good with them is fantastic, whether it's I guess a non-for-profit or a partnering brand or agency. It's a good platform. We definitely find relationships, I think, are important in what we do. And I think, as you say, like the marketing burnout it's definitely there, isn't it? Like, we did some digital marketing, and I was just like, this is shit. Like, I don't want to see my own advert. But, we're in the industry where we always get the adverts, right? Because that's what we're interested in. We want the advertising agency adverts. I think every second post on my socials, a digital agency are trying to get me to sign up. It's like, fucking oath. Like,
just a number. We're just a number in the process now, aren't we? Personalization.
Have you thought about starting a B2C brand? Like, it's sort of something that comes to me quite regularly. It's just like, why don't I make a B2C brand? It would be so much easier than B2B. Like, you know, I've got all the skills and I think, you know, there's so many more customers out there. There's bigger niches. It would be an easy business strategy, like sell t-shirts or hats or mugs. I don't know.
Totally. Look, it's actually really interesting. So my neighbour and I are in very similar stages of life, and on the same day we came to each other and said, right, I've got my business idea, and mine is B2B and hers is B2C. I love B2B. I'm just passionate about it now, and the budgets in B2B are really good as well, and the lifetime of a relationship is a lot longer than B2C. So they're just very different strategies, whereas hers is got to get out there. You know, if I get one sale from that person, fantastic. If I can get them back, awesome. But it's a lot more mass market. So I don't think about B2C very often anymore. And I think, do you know what? I'm such a relationships girl that maybe that's the reason that the B2B is more interesting to me. And I love the complexity of a buying cycle in B2B as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you sort of focus, you know, you were talking about niches before with, you know, speaking the right language to the right people. How many of your clients sort of have multiple messages and multiple funnels for different demographic? Like, is that important, especially in tech sort of world?
Yeah, absolutely. And if they don't, that's what we're working on is making sure, first of all, they understand who the audience is that they're selling to, and then understanding who the audience is that they need to influence in the buying cycle. And there's absolutely different messages that need to be served up at different stages of the sales relationship as well. And marketing is a really important part of curating those messages because you don't, in the buying cycle, you don't just need the salesperson talking to them. There's really smart marketing tactics where you can still be serving them with content, etc., because you know that this is the process your clients are going down. The majority of them think like this, so they will have objections at this point. They will need more information on this at this point, and marketing has a really important role to come in and create that content or that experience while the salesperson is also trying to sell to them. So
yeah, absolutely. Keep building trust. You know, give out
and
that
authority.
and give out that free ebook.
Or cool video.
Exactly.
I'm all about videos.
Great.
I hate written content. Who's got time?
Although everything's turning to video. So, I mean, I think video is still a growing industry, and I think motion graphics in particular is an industry that I think we're going to dominate the world, honestly. Like there's screens going everywhere. There's opportunity for media and animation and video combined is like, it's always going to be the best storytelling. Like I'm a deep believer that, you know, motion graphic artists will run the world probably within the next 5 years.
Yeah. And honestly, I am so on board with that. And it's just like it's so awesome that you're at the front of this, because I remember we had a deputy, we had an in-house design team. And when our motion graphic designer went on leave, pretty much the whole marketing team just went into a deep, dark depression because like the quality of the work and like just how beautiful you can portray a story, and really even just really simple motion graphics, the cut through is just incredible, but it also brings your brand to life in such a beautiful way as well. So
I've actually met some of the motion graphic artists from Xero. So they attended a conference I went to last year. But it's interesting because like a company like that, you wouldn't think they might have motion graphic artists on the team, but they had like 3 or 4. It was just like, wow, okay, cool.
Honestly, the amount of investment that went into the hub, which is the design team, The design team was as big as, if not the same size as, well, that's saying the same thing. The design team was the same size as the marketing team. And it was because that visual identity was so important. There was full-time videographers that would travel around the world, be doing customer case studies. The motion graphics was like just a part of who we were as a business, and that visual identity. Talk about smoke and mirrors as we were trying to build a business and keep up with product development and all of that type of stuff. It was something that competitors just couldn't emulate. It was just incredible. And yeah.
I feel like it was probably quite key to the success, from what I believe, in Xero targeting creative agencies, because they were producing such creative work themselves.
Yeah.
I think that was the driver.
Yeah. And the creative, to add to that, the creative team was a core part of the strategy, and the creative team understood the strategy. They knew the product inside out. They knew the customer's pain points inside out. And that's what led to such beautiful work being done, is because it wasn't just a brief that was being thrown over the fence. It was a real partnership in the way that the creative was coming to life. And the design team knew the customers just as much as the customers knew the design team, because they were at all of the Xerocons. They were there producing content. It was really beautiful. It was amazing.